Hi, I'm Lola. This is The Sims 4, and actually, more specifically, the solar flare bar. And today we are starting our Let's Build renovation of it. The very first thing that I would love to do is, unlike the Space Museum next door, which I did so long ago before I realized I wanted to keep the overall shape of these builds because it's more of a refresh. So we're going to ignore the museum from that perspective. But for this, I think I would like to give it a shot. So ultimately, if it doesn't work, then I'll do something else. But the very, very first thing I would love to do is move that second floor to the ground floor. I think it's a cool shape. I kind of see what they were going after here. I do think that their buildings in Oasis Spring, at least this community lot strip, is better as far as, original Sims builds go. We have three options. We can keep this a lounge, we can change it to a bar, or a nightclub, actually, which has the least amount of requirements. I think this building, the way it is, even on the second floor, what would work most for it is actually a restaurant. But unfortunately, we do not have those in the base game, which I think is actually just silly. We have 3 different bar types, but we can't eat here. Cash grabbing assholes, aren't they? Anyways, so dine out is not going to come into the picture for a while, but I think as a bar, or do we do a fake restaurant that doesn't function? No, let's not. Let's keep it base game. The very first thing I'm going to do is move this second floor to the ground floor. So let me do that really quickly off screen. Okay, here it is. It's all of its glory, just on the ground floor now. It looks a little bit strange, to be honest, but we can spruce this up. We can make this work, right? So I think the first thing that we would need to do is get rid of that balcony because it no longer should be one. We can extend the walkway. Let's see. For the time being, I'll move this here. I'll designate some time for actual landscaping later. So we no longer have the stairs, so that can go as well. Which gives us very open space. So in terms of layout, I think it will be better if the lounge was back here, like all the music. Like I'll throw in a piano, why not? Let's do that right now. Just so that it looks like that's the designated area. I don't mind these tables where they are, but clearly we can't have as many because this will more or less be where the entrance is, isn't it? I might have to move it. Let's match this in the back really quickly. Yeah, let's move it out by one. Beautiful. Let's find a door that matches, for the time being at least. Is that the only one? Well, can I have one in blue that has bigger windows? Or should this be more private? Clearly privacy is not an issue for all of these windows. Amazing. This really could would be a really cool diner, actually, even on the second floor, to be honest. Because then you could add like more seating, like lounging areas downstairs, or outdoor seating just downstairs. That would have been cool. So maybe we'll see how this goes, and maybe we'll just do a version once I get to dine out. Okay, I actually like where the bar is. That I do not mind. I think we could... Oh, well, that's very private and unfortunate. Okay. Cool. Again, I know it's a game, so the fact that these have windows in them should not really matter. But you know what would have been a funner mechanic than doing this is like actually Sims having a reaction to having a bathroom with like so many windows, whether through doors or like, you know, if you want to do something crazy like this. I think they should have had an opinion on this. To be like, I can go pee here, everybody can see me. That would have been fun. Anyways, do they need both of these bathrooms? I want to say no. I think it would be better if maybe this area was added as like, I don't know, employee area, maybe maybe like a not a stock room, but we can't do a lot with the base game, can we? So maybe like break room, which is not necessary by any means, but I think it would be funner, not only for just you watching a redesign, right, but also just changing this area up. Right now I'm just walking through the plan, so this will need to be thought through as well. So if everybody's facing now that area, should this be more of a stage? Like people come here to watch people on the open mic, maybe? Like the piano can be there as decoration per se, but this makes me think of a club I went to, like a comedy club I went to out in New York like over a decade ago. And like it was a bunch of tables and chairs just facing clearly the stage. Actually, I think that will be cool. This is a designated spot for performers. I also wish you could designate that in like some type of law treats or whatever. Like this is where people hang out to do comedy, whereas the bar next door is like, you know, this is where people hang out to music performances or like nothing at all. Like it's just a plain bar, you know? That would have been fun. Anyway, okay, let me think this one through. I would like to figure out the layout of the overall main area. I think that's quite important. So let me do that off camera really quickly and I'll show you what I got. Okay. First things first, look at this piano, beautifully floating. I just needed you to see it. Second of all, I'm not done with the layout, but I am thinking about the windows. So if I do a medium wall height, which I am inclined to do because of the stage for the piano, which is why it's floating, I think I would like to keep the windows where they were. I could add the ones that I just deleted on top of them. I could also move them up a little. So here they would match with the window above the door and nothing else, to be honest. Is this better? I'm gonna let you tell me. I think I can figure the windows out in the next episode because today we're just mostly doing the interior anyways. So you keep me posted. But back to the layout. I don't have much, so I need to go back to it. Plus, to mention, these will either have to go or be moved up regardless. Something like this, I mean, it doesn't actually look that bad. Alternatively, just remove them from that area, which actually is nice. Alright, so let me fidget with the layout one more time. Okay, so I am not loving this idea, to be honest, which is why I'm kind of bringing you halfway through it. In order to do even like a second row of couches here, something like this, people are going to be congregated behind these couches, which is just honestly kind of crappy. Like I can make room for more, that's fine, but like I'm not loving this, to be honest. So what I think would be a better option if these were tables and the actual lounging was right here. So we can do one of two things. We can either make the entrance bigger so this has more space over here. Maybe cut it out a little bit. So it's not, so like this is maybe an entrance. This is the place for the sofas, the conversation pit of a bar, right? Something like that. Let's see, remove this, remove that, remove this, remove that. So that's option one. Still keeping the same idea layout-wise. So this will be a bunch of tables. This is where the seating will be. If we don't need this space, we can just move the bar up, kind of like so. So again, this has still more space over here, so you can have the seating. Clearly, this will have to be cleaned up. The bar is more towards the back, which again, if you don't want to be dealing with the performances, you don't have to be. You can just hang out by the bar. We keep the overall shape of the building the same this way, and I think that could work. We could still have some separation like this, maybe with a bunch of archways. The only thing that bothers me here is this lack of area. Like, I can't put a table here because of the wall. Does that mean that the stage is too big? No, it doesn't. It means I'm just not... I think it just needs to be open floor plan like it was. Let me figure out exactly what I want out of this layout. This way, we can get started on the building, which will more likely be next episode, but one thing at a time. Let me finalize my thoughts here. Alright, so I think I'm happy with the front area overall. I'm not sure that I'm going to keep that love seat over here, but it's a little boring, but again, it's base game. I don't have that much to work with. I think I would rather have these larger tables over something like this, because these, well, let's see. If you move them forward, right, it's just awkward a little bit to pass for this seat here. Same over there. Whatever. We have two options. They're not that bad. Now let me figure out how this would work, the spread of these chairs and tables. So I actually don't hate the idea of them being quite close to the stage. It's not like they need to be far away. It would be cool if we could, I mean, we actually, I could make that happen, just not with base game, because we don't have any tall tables, correct? In here? That's a regular dining chair. Table, I mean. So is this. Essentially what I'm thinking is if this were bar tables, I could actually just line this somehow like this and just put bar stools underneath. That would have been epic. But since we don't, ooh, I actually don't hate this. It's a pretty good spread. I mean, it's not like anybody's actually watching anything, but it is a little tight over here. I don't love that. Okay, give me one more minute. Okay, I am still not loving it, to be honest. I think it's still too tight. So I think it's easier to remove the table and just have this type of walkway. Maybe just spread these tables out a little bit better. Something like this. We'll see. Then remove that. Because, you know what, the more I'm thinking about it, like, either one of these will do. I think it's nicer to have less tables, to be honest. It's not like anybody's going to be sitting here anyways. Everybody's just going to be here communing communally. I mean, since everybody's just always talking to everybody anyways, you can't really do much about that. Anyways, as I was, like, fudging around with the layout just now, like, why is it... Oh, and the bathroom door needs to be moved pronto. Like, why is it that we only have, like, one hireable NPC per community lot? Like, when I throw a party, I can hire musicians and things like that, singers, for the most random things for parties sometimes. I think I once... I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I feel like it asked me to... like, you don't have to have them also, but, like, to have, like, an actual singer on a Halloween party or something like that. I don't know. But, like, why can't a bar, if there is a piano, not have a pianist? Or if there is a mic, let me set it to either a musician or a comic, or, like, actually have open mic nights, you know? So, is the mic facing the whole room? Or just the tables? I think just the tables. I think that's a little bit nicer. Okay, on to the bar. Right, like, and the fact that we don't have, like, bands that like synchronize with themselves. Like I can have all these instruments, but it's just gonna be three different people playing three different things. It's this game is infuriating, like poorly designed, and it's just I would like to be able to not see these things, to be honest, sometimes, because like I understand it's a little bit whiny on my part. I get that. Like we've all played this game, we all know their shortcomings, but like I don't know how the low sodium people actually do it. It's give me your pro tips, please. Like free me. Free me from my own I wouldn't call it negativity actually, but it's just I can't unsee them, especially, you know, having worked in web design where essentially it's, you know, the only difference between this and the website is like this is animated and a lot more interactive. So like they're both digital products at the end of the day. But like to actually make one that's this poorly quality controlled and thought through is mind-boggling. So it's kind of like, you know, I see these things because of my profession. Like, I don't love it for myself. But whatever. Okay, that's a cutie little bar. Sorry. I don't know why, but I was going to say cutie patootie, but like, I just want to say cute. My tongue is hijacking itself. Anyways, in the back, I don't mind this little seating area. It just kind of makes no sense, to be honest. This was a table among the couches before. Let's see. Yeah, why not? So they're not evenly spaced out. Better. Not good enough. I am leaning towards the round one, mostly because I'm liking the less is more in a way. It was just, I'm trying to make this not to be too visually cluttered. I'm still not loving these dividers, but it's the only ones that I could find in base game objects. This would have been so much easier if this wasn't just base game, wouldn't it? Alright, well, maybe the piano needs to be this way, and then the instruments can be here. Ooh, you know what would be funny? And yes, I do actually mean funny. Like a stool in front of the mic so that nobody can use it. Oh, that's brilliant. And then maybe like, yeah, this is just so staged. Like, it's just a shame we can't like actually have like all of these things playable. I guess that's what it boils down to for me. Like, I don't think we're asking for a lot where I am. It's just, you know, some common sense. And two, like, functional features of a game that's worth $1,500 by now if you pay full price for everything. I like this layout. You know what? I do enjoy this layout. I also enjoy these colorful lights, so I'm definitely going to be using those as well. This is slightly giving me vibes of my Willow Creek bar, but I'm not going to think about it too much. This rug is also just leftovers, so let's see, can I make it bigger and looks good? Looks good enough. So, do we add more bathrooms? Yes. Just not with these doors. Like, that's creepy. I think we can easily get away with having just 4 stalls. I would prefer 3 for some reason. And they're not going to be gendered either, so that's easier for me. But what I can do is add more sinks, but I'm sorry, I'm like thinking out loud while I'm trying to conceptualize this. I think 2 will be more than enough because I can't fill up this whole wall because of the stall, but maybe that's exactly what I do because this is a bigger stall. Not that we have handicap anything in this game, but if that bathroom, if the entrance is over here, then I can put sinks on one side, and then maybe like a little seating area here, or like a full-length mirror. We gotta think of the ladies and anyone else that wants to look good. Maybe that's just like a less accessible one, or honestly, just go back to exactly what it was. You know what? Let's do that. And look at me coming around full. I cannot speak today. Apparently, I'm having really hard time like pronouncing basic things. I was speaking to a friend earlier and I couldn't pronounce opioid. I even had to just think about that one for a minute right just now. Let's see. This is red. What's the difference? Okay, what is the difference between these two? They're not. Oh, okay. Wow, what a small detail. Okay, what are there any other better? This one would match that door very well. Cool. Okay, so I did just match the colors of all of these lights. And I will come back later on. Maybe they should be pink or blue because the color scheme for this place is red, white, and blue. Very American. Now that I pointed that out. But the lights over here are pink, a little bit of blue, I think. No, that's also pink. So maybe this one's blue? Yeah, so I think next episode, what we will do is kind of go in one section at a time. Maybe we'll start in the front with these sofas and just change it out to be more appropriate furniture. We might still keep some of this, like this red bar, I think, if we're not changing the overall color scheme, which I would rather not. I want to see what I can do with this. But like the yellow doesn't match. Maybe it's a different color altogether. Maybe it's a whole different table. You know, sprucing up the overall stage, kind of, you know, making sure that these are the right actual mirrors for that bathroom, and so on and so forth. So, okay, thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.